Saying that the federal government is deferring $1.3 billion in Medicaid reimbursements from the state of California. And the simple reason is because the state of California has not taken fraud very seriously, and because of that, we see a lot of the consequences that I just referenced. And again, let me highlight the fact that this really is two separate victims. So there are California taxpayers and American taxpayers who are being defrauded because California isn't taking its program seriously, but also you have people who've been prescribed medications that they don't even need. Sometimes they've had drugs put into their bodies that they don't need because fraudsters have actually encouraged false prescriptions and false administration of medications. So think about this. You're just a person trying to go see a doctor. You assume that your doctor is doing the right thing, but these fraudulent healthcare providers are getting rich by giving people medications they don't even need. It's a defrauding of the American taxpayer, but it's a violation of the trust that should exist between every American and the people who prescribe the medications.
Welcome back, my beautiful and amazing people. I hope you're doing well wherever you're watching me from, and thank you so much for the love and the support that you're showing me. I really do appreciate it. Well, JD Vance felt like whatever DJT said a day ago isn't enough. He came out said that he doesn't care, he doesn't think about the American people or even the American financial situation. Well, JD Vance came out also and was like, you know what, we're cutting a 1.3 billion on Medicaid in California. And why is he doing this? His biggest excuse is because in California, that is where there is a lot of fraud. Let's see, what do people think about this? Because this is something crazy. And then after that, I'm going to give my point of view, and credit belongs to the original creators of the videos that I have used. Stay tuned, my beautiful people.
These people just have to like watching people suffer. JD Vance just cut $1.3 billion in funding to Medicaid to the state of California because of fraud. Regardless of the fact if there even if there is an ounce of fraud, there are still millions of people that rely on that to keep them alive. I'm sorry, but you can't say that this administration gives a fuck about people, their well-being, or you can't argue that this administration cares about you as a person. All they care about is money. Oh, they're actively watching people suffer because of money. Do you understand? Like, full stop. They cut funding because supposedly there's fraud. So now millions of people are going to suffer.
This message is for every United States citizen. It doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat or Libertarian or Independent, whatever. Some red hats are making fun of Californians because they are cutting $1.3 billion in funding on Medicaid. That's JD Vance. However, you haven't done your research enough, because actually across the board, across the United States, it's $1 trillion, and it will be affecting the red states. And also just wanted to let you know the grocery prices are not lower, and our gas prices are higher, and there's still a war, and people are losing their houses by the tens of thousands across the United States, including the red states. Actually, more in the red states. Well, that's your news for today. I don't understand why you're still supporting Dumpy Pants when all he does is lies to you. And JD Vance is part author of the Heritage Foundation. And if you read the Heritage Foundation, it does not include most of you that support him still. Anyway, God bless America.
So we can't put any type of restrictions on firearms because of the Second Amendment. And, you know, we can't blame a couple of bad apples for going on mass shooting sprees and murdering children in schools. But we can cut funding to Medicaid, to the seniors who are living in assisted living facilities, to the individuals with special needs, to the people with diabetes or asthma who need medications to stay alive. Guns are more important than people's lives. Got it.
JD Vance and Dr. Oz announced today that they were cutting $1.3 billion in Medicaid funding to the state of California. The reason given for this cut was that California has not been diligent enough to root out fraud in its state. California obviously disputes that fact. These funds are going to be specifically cut from hospice programs, home health care programs in the state of California. But in addition to that, the entire United States is on a 6-month freeze from any new enrollment for hospice care. So if you or someone you love needs hospice care in the next 6 months and they get Medicaid, there will be no funding in the entire United States for new cases in the next 6 months. Now, the reason California specifically was targeted for hospice care and home health care is that, according to JD Vance and Dr. Oz, California's rate of enrollment in these programs was higher than the national average, which made it suspicious and to them indicates fraud. My opinion is you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I am certain there is fraud and that these things need to be investigated. But to cut all services from everyone, yes, you'll stop some of the fraud, but you're also going to be stopping people who desperately need these care in some of the worst time of their life. Go love your neighbor.
They don't care if you die. JD Vance and Donald Trump do not care if you lose your life as long as they get their petty revenge. This whole Medicaid cut to California, it's about making people suffer and they don't care. If this happens and Medicaid funds don't get through, people will lose their lives. Seniors, children, the disabled, they will not be able to afford healthcare. They will not be able to afford medications. They will have to make choices on whether to put a roof over their head or food on the table or take the medications they need to survive. But Donald Trump said it himself. He doesn't think about Americans. He doesn't think about their financial situations. And JD Vance, I have a question for you specifically, because you're the one who got up there and said that with a little smirk on your face. How can you do that and call yourself a Catholic? Seriously, a pro-life Catholic who thinks he can lecture the Pope but take health care away from the poor, the elderly, the disabled, and children.
So Trump just had JD Vance go out there and announce that they're cutting California off from Medicaid, $1.3 billion. People are going to suffer and lose their lives. This means that they're going to stop payments to nursing care facilities. Do you know what happens when the staff doesn't get paid? They stop showing up and people lose their lives. This means that people who show up at the pharmacy for their asthma medication, so they can breathe and live, they could be denied that inhaler. That also means that people with diabetes could be denied their insulin or their monitoring equipment. It means that children could go without medical treatments, resulting in lifelong medical issues. And if hospitals don't get their Medicaid money, they also stop paying their staff. So people either don't show up to work or they have to close these hospitals. They are going to cause chaos for no reason. And then he threatened the rest of the states. He said that if they don't fall into line and get rid of the corruption that's in Medicaid, he's going to let more people lose their lives. They don't want to take away weapons because, there's all these law-abiding citizens that would be affected by just a few bad actors, taking out all of our children in schools. But they have no problem cutting off millions of people, including children and veterans and the disabled and the elderly, from health care because there's a few people who might be committing fraud, which you can address without, destroying the rest of the population.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying to this moment. You want to tell me that everything else can be left alone? Anything that entails pedophilic behaviors, anything that entails kids being unalived, anything that entails people owning firearms in the United States, and everything. All that can be ignored But a single fraud in California, not even a single fraud, maybe there is a very high chance that yes, there is fraud in California. And I completely am not saying that there is nothing like that that is going on. There could be something that is going on, or maybe it is actually going on. But let me ask you something. Is it worth it, you cutting Medicaid on people who literally depend on it simply because there is fraud that is going on? I mean, you're the biggest frauds in this government. Why aren't you cutting yourself off? Instead of you thinking of people who depend on this Medicaid, you're thinking of a person who has committed fraud. This is where you're supposed to be including your investigators and everything so that you can come out with the person who is doing this, so that you can be aware of who's doing what. And that way you're going to save a lot of people, but you don't care. You literally do not care about the American people or what is going to happen to them, as long as you are satisfied at your heart. And I know there are some people who are going to say, oh, this is a red thing, the red side thing. It is, but it is not. This is going to affect every person who's in California and needs Medicaid. Now it means that a lot of lives are going to be lost. It means that a lot of people are not going to live normal lives. Because what do you mean somebody has cancer but they cannot be treated because they cannot get Medicaid simply because it was cut? What do you mean someone who needs an inhaler to breathe, they cannot even get that anymore? What do you mean that little child that has been born cannot even be taken care of? Those people in nursing homes, they cannot be treated. These hospitals are going to be closed, I'm 100% sure, because there is no way I'm going to be working somewhere and I'm not getting paid. What is really going on? What is really happening? Why is it that these people are so hell-bent on making sure that the American people do not get anything but losses and pain and nothing good completely? I mean, look at the prices. Everything is so hiked. People are not affording it. You have to really, really evaluate what you need for you to even have it. There is no luxury of living in the United States anymore. There is no luxury of choosing what you want. It is you choosing what you need specifically. And the more you need something, the more it is being made hard for you to even achieve it. Because J.D. Vance coming out talking about it simply because it is frauds that are making these big cuts off. There are some innocent lives. There are some innocent kids out there who had no idea that there's a fraudster somewhere who's doing that. There is a very old person somewhere who needs that. There is another woman somewhere who needs that. There is a sick person who literally needs that Medicaid, but they cannot get it simply because a fraudster has done something. And now you feel like it is okay for you to punish everybody else simply because of a mistake of another person. And instead of you stepping up, doing your investigations, bringing up the best people that you can bring up to investigate this case, all you can do is just cut this Medicaid off for people. It's crazy. Very, very crazy. It's saddening. It's heartbreaking. It is everything. This is not how it is done. But they don't care. They don't care. Michael Jackson said that all that he knows is that they really don't care about us. And they really don't. As long as they're getting what they need, they don't care about any other person. And he said, actually, which has reminded me, he said that it is not only going to happen in California. Any other state is going to be under scrutiny. Instead of them scrutinizing the people who are doing this, he feels like it is okay for them to just put any other state in scrutiny to make sure that there is no fraudster. And if there is, then Medicaid is going to be cut off. I'm 100% sure that they're not going to investigate on these people who are committing these frauds. Nothing is going to be done. But they are going to run after these states, making sure that every state that they come across and has anything to do with fraud, they cut the Medicaid, because they don't want to give what they're supposed to give. All they want is just to keep on taking. And they're going to keep on taking until the American people have nothing left for them. Nothing left in them. But people tried telling the people who voted for this over and over again that they were making a very big mistake. Nobody listened. Everyone ignored. They felt like, nah, this is not it. You guys are just liars. You don't know what you're saying. Our people can never fail us. Now look at the United States right now. It is terrible failure, a laughing stock. I don't know what you think about all this. You can let me know what you think about it in the comment section. And if you're new here, kindly remember to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share. And until next time, it's goodbye from me.